All right, so we're gonna go back into our nutrition book, Your Brain on Food. This time we're gonna go over anxiety and PTSD. So the Western diet refers to the standard American diet, so it's all the same. And though plenty of Americans are health conscious as anyone else in the world, the Western diet is what you typically find in a fast food meal. The major components are bad fats, so like saturated fats, trans fats, unhealthy PUFAs, which is polyunsaturated fats, like vegetable oil, commonly used for deep frying, so like canola oil, and high GI carbs, which means lots of fried foods, sweetened drinks, especially those sweetened with high fructose corn syrup, and lots of red meat. And while there's no question that this diet is bad for your physical health, we're going to see how its negative influence on the mental health as well, kind of throughout this blog. And anxiety is no exception to that. It's important to also realize with anxiety that excess caffeine in your diet can precipitate or worsen anxiety. Caffeine overstimulates regions of the brain that process threat. So just keep that in mind. You want less than 400 milligrams a day, but you'll find what's best for you. I actually find that I used to be a huge coffee drinker. Now I'm good with like one shot of espresso, maybe, and sometimes I go completely caffeine free, and I'm fine. And now, what was it? I tried coffee a couple months ago, and I maybe had like a cup of regular coffee. I made an affogato, which is poured over ice cream. Mine was vanilla almond milk ice cream, gluten-free, dairy-free ice cream, and it took me about 5 hours to drink it, and I could feel my heart pounding because I do have anxiety, so I could feel that kind of hyping up in my body. So it's kind of really interesting when you understand that connection. Also, when you use artificial sweeteners that have no nutritional value, they can increase the bad gut bacteria and therefore negatively affect mood and anxiety. Sweeteners like aspartame have been more directly linked with anxiety in research studies and should be avoided, or at the very least, used in moderation. Diets rich in dietary fiber may reduce the risk of depression, anxiety, and stress. And in the brain, fermented foods may confer several advantages. Fermented foods have improved human cognitive function in several studies. So here's a bit of your anxiety cheat sheet. The foods that you want to embrace are going to be high fiber foods like beans, brown rice, berries, bran, pears, apples, bananas, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, carrots, artichokes, almonds, walnuts, amaranth, oats, buckwheat. Remember your oats, make sure they're gluten-free because otherwise they're splayed with glucophosphate, which is terrible for you. And pearl barley. Aged, fermented, and cultured foods like yogurt, kombucha, be careful about the kombucha, miso, tempeh, apple cider vinegar, and pickled vegetables, tryptophan, which is in turkey and other meats, and chickpeas, especially when combined with carbohydrates. We got vitamins D, B1, B6, A, C, and E. Minerals like magnesium, potassium, and selenium, and spices like turmeric, herbs like lavender, passion flower, and chamomile. The foods to avoid for anxiety are the components of the Western diet. So foods high in bad fats, red meat, fried foods, and high GI carbs, white bread, white rice, potatoes, pasta, or anything else made from refined flour. Caffeine, again, you want to keep that consumption to under 400 milligrams a day. And then alcohol for women, you want to stay under 7 drinks per week and no more than 1 single drink in any day. By cutting back slowly, you'll be able to help lower that anxiety. You do not want to go cold turkey on this. Gluten. If you have celiac disease or non-celiac gluten sensitivity, avoid all wheat products such as bread, pizza, pasta, and many alcoholic drinks. And artificial sweeteners. Like I said, aspartame is particularly harmful, but also saccharin. Use sucralose and stevia in moderation and with caution. So going into a little bit more on PTSD, because that is also an anxiety disorder. So in human studies, it's clear that PTSD affects metabolism in a way that promotes overeating and obesity. Sugar and high GI carbs are also destructive to the traumatized brain. One study found that acute stress increased cortisol and blood sugar glucose after a meal. This was consistent with another study that demonstrated that women with PTSD had twice the risk of type 2 diabetes compared to women without. High blood sugar affects the ability of the hippocampus in the brain to react to stress, and as a result, when people are dealing with trauma, eating sugary foods may compromise the brain's ability to deal with that stress. In sensitive individuals, MSG may cause problems including brain toxicity, and PTSD patients are particularly vulnerable to excess glutamates, leading to increased brain inflammation and the destruction of brain cells. Every time that you expose yourself to stress, it can damage the cells in your body the same way that powerful environmental pollutants can. And chronic PTSD, so CPTSD, means that your brain is constantly stressed and therefore flooded with free radicals. And vitamin E is going to be a particularly important body defense system against those free radicals. So here's your PTSD cheat sheet. The foods to embrace: you want to do blueberries, a half a cup to a cup a day, omega-3 fatty acids like fish, especially salmon, mackerel, tuna, herring, and sardines. You want vitamin E. You want spices like turmeric, and supplements can be ginkgo biloba, which I believe is in green tea. And then foods to avoid: the components of the Western diet. So again, foods high in bad fats, high GI carbs, sugar, baked goods, candy, soda, anything sweetened with sugar or high fructose corn syrup, MSG, or other glutamates. Again, make sure if you're doing oats, they are gluten-free ones, because that's where that's going to be at, is that glutamate and glutamic acid. Fish sauce, oyster sauce, tomato sauce, miso, Parmesan cheese, savory snacks, chips, ready-to-eat meals, mushroom, spinach, sweet cheeses, seaweed, soy sauce, fermented beans, tomatoes, and high-protein foods like meats and seafoods. Some of these foods also have positive effects, like spinach, also very good, tomatoes, also very good, but it's going to depend on your body, and working out a personalized nutrition plan is what's going to be really important for people that suffer with PTSD, CPTSD, or any type of anxiety. Any questions? Drop it below.